Go live, going live. Yes. Click on that. Go live with streaming. Interesting. There we go. Hello, everybody. ELR Rose Raven 360 Live here, Sunday. And it is Emmy Sunday here at Hollywood, in Hollywood. A big day here. I guess the only other, it's the biggest day in television and not the biggest day in movies, because that would be the Oscars. So today is Emmy Day. Very exciting. The town, I'm not going to say the town shuts down, but there's a lot of activities in the town. And this is what a lot of people look for all year long. They look forward to the big ceremony all year long. The Emmys, I don't know what is the Emmys this year. When Everyone's Raymond was on the air, by the way, Tom Caltabiano here, writer on Everyone's Raymond, and informal, not official, but took a ton of photos of the series over all 9 years. For those of you just joining, that is who I am. The Emmys. So an interesting thing, Everyone's Raymond was on for 9 years, and the first Emmy win came in the fifth season when we were filming based on performances by Patricia Heaton in the fourth season. So you know now that the show is a timeless show and has gone on for 25 years, but that wasn't always the case. At the beginning of Everyone's Raymond, I don't know that there were any nominations the first season, which is not unusual. There are some shows that really take off right away. Shows like Roseanne, because Roseanne speaks to a very wide audience. And for those of you that aren't in the United States, there's something called the flyover states, and Hollywood very much often ignores them. So Hollywood is New York and Los Angeles, let's just say, more Los Angeles, I know, but the makers of decisions are in Hollywood and New York. So New York is actually where the big money is, meaning for CBS, it was called BlackRock. And so that's where all the serious money people are. So the president of CBS would often be going to New York City to talk to the big players. And for real finance people, Hollywood is, not that it's a joke, but it's not a stable area. But all the key decisions happen in those two cities. And what often happens in Hollywood is middle America is ignored. So a show like Roseanne, which speaks to middle America, instantly took off. I think it was a #1 show within, I don't know, you can look these up. And again, I'm here to share personal experiences and give you some insight onto what it was like to work on Everyone's Raymond. Anything that you can Google easily, I recommend that, because Google might be 40% more reliable than me and my memories. So Everyone's Raymond, Seinfeld, these are shows that bizarrely did not catch on for many, many years. Everyone's Raymond, as those of you who know and who have watched me going live for the last 4 years, Everyone's Raymond was I think we finished number 83 in the ratings the first season. And for the most part, most shows are shocked if they get nominated in the first season for an Emmy. And some shows never get nominated for an Emmy. So Everyone's Raymond is on the air, season 1. We're doing some good shows, I would say, very good shows. I know by the third show, Standard Deviation, written by Steve Scrovan, where they take an IQ test. That was a really funny episode. There's a couple in that first season that are very funny. Ray and I wrote the season finale, where you find out that Deborah is pregnant, and they decide they're going to move across the street from their parents in a flashback episode. A very funny episode. So those type of episodes, good. And now in hindsight, I love them. I just watched The Ball, recently, and I thought, what a great episode that was for season 1. So now, season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4 is the first Emmy nominations that pay off with Patricia Heaton winning an Emmy for Outstanding Actress, Outstanding Lead Actress in a sitcom. And I remember the feeling of pride for at least for me, and I think for all of us, that, oh, wow, the show is recognized. The show is on the map, because there was a point when, next time we have Phil Rosenthal as a guest, we'll talk to him about it. There was that point of going, okay, well, you're doing good work. You're hearing good feedback from friends, trying to go for an award just for sake of going for award. I don't know that's what drives most purely creative people, because there are many people that never win an award. And also, it's weird because you're judging art. It's one thing to be a sports event where it's the World Series or the World Cup, and you're like, okay, that team won because they scored more goals. There's no ambiguity. There's no, I don't know, it didn't appeal to me as much, the German victory in that, or Italy winning. I didn't enjoy, there's no interpretation. It's they win or they don't win. And in art, which not to get all highfalutin, but some people hate the show Everybody Loves Raymond, and other people love the show Everybody Loves Raymond. So that means that somebody, if the people that hate Everybody Loves Raymond were given the awards for the Emmys, Everybody Loves Raymond would lose. And so that's why it's a little bit, overall, it's a weird thing judging art in this type of way. However, I don't know that there's a better way to do it. You have to get people to vote. So let's talk about and decide what is their favorite show. So I'm not an expert on the voting process, but I know it goes something like this, and the rules have changed a little since Everybody Loves Raymond was on the air. So the Emmy Award, of which I have 2 Emmys, when the show won Outstanding Comedy 2 years. So it's here somewhere, and I will dig it up and bring it on camera. Actually, let me take a little break from here's a little warm. Oh, you know what? I forgot to drink my. So here we go. Here's a little pizza from Nemo's. The best tip I've gotten from doing this, and this has been worth doing every single show for the past 3 or 4 years, is this. This is not bourbon. This is honey. So I would never think to do a shot of honey or to drink honey. Let's say a teaspoon, but I don't want to spill. I don't trust myself, and I have more familiarity with this. So here I'm going to drink a little bit of honey. I forget who suggested the first time, but I appreciate that. It works like a charm, and I've heard of it in tea and stuff like that, but never. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Cheers for anyone else drinking honey at home. I don't know what honey that is. I forget. It's wildflower honey, for those of you that are into honey. All right. So the Emmys, you vote. There's a whole nomination process. Then once the nomination process is, there's the Academy, which I think it's called the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And maybe now they just call it the TV Academy, but who knows? Who can keep up with all this? But in the spirit of the awards, you would have a nomination process where everybody in the Academy votes on what they want to nominate as the best show. So you narrow down all the shows on the air, and believe me, feel free. The people that really know the exact detailed don't get mad. This is the spirit of how it works. You put up your favorite shows. Phil Rosenthal, Ray Romano, they go favorite episodes they would like to get nominated for the series. And then there's a voting process. And then the Emmy nominees are announced. And it's usually, I want to say it's July, like mid-July, because we know the ceremony is usually in September. So they're announced, and that's a big day. So the first time that Everett Raymond was nominated and I really pay whatever is less than zero. That's what the amount of attention I would pay to the Emmy nominations. Uh, but you would go to work like a normal day, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're not in the writer's room. Phil's on the phone. The show was nominated, or there were nominations. Because I did not pay any attention to it, which is probably not a good thing. It was just a surprise to me, and I'd go, oh, we don't have to go into the writer's room right away because Phil is fielding calls. So I don't remember what that season was, but it was, like season 4 or season 5. You can look it up. The outstanding comedy nomination, or somebody will put it on the screen, my trusty audience. So that was a big thing. That was recognition. And at the time, I want to say that Frasier was dominating the Emmys. Frasier, it seemed like, won everything. And I know a lot of people are like, I can't believe Peter Boyle didn't win. Well, Peter Boyle was up against the Frasier, what is our friend's name? David Hyde Pierce, who seemed to win it a lot. And Frasier seemed to win it every time we were nominated. Frasier won. And Peter Boyle was up against David Hyde Pierce and somebody else by the name of Brad Garrett. So this is a good problem to have. And the first year of Everybody Loves Raymond, Peter Boyle was up for an Emmy on a show called The X-Files. And in season 1, for those who have been following along at home, Peter lived in an apartment complex for business people, or whatever you might have. That's a furnished business thing called the Hillcrest Apartments in Los Angeles. He lived, I believe, on the 3rd floor, and Raymond lived on the 2nd floor. And Raymond and I were roommates. So I remember early on, we probably were there in August. And all of a sudden in September, like 4 weeks after we got there, there's Peter Boyle leaving to go to the Emmy Awards in a limousine, and then coming back with an Emmy later that night. And it's not like we waited up for him and we were like, Peter, make sure you let us know how you did. And I don't even remember if we won the Emmys, but watched the Emmys, but Peter Boyle won. And we were like, oh, that's cool. Peter won. We only knew him for 4 weeks, 6 weeks at that point. Okay. So I'm saying, for those of you that are like, I can't believe Peter never won. Well, Brad would have to lose, and David Hyde Pierce would have to lose as well. And that was in the beginning. He dominated. Frasier dominated. And let's just talk about keeping going with the process. Once you're nominated, then the actors pick an episode to submit. I think the show might submit 4 episodes or 2 episodes. I don't remember exactly. And then it gets voted on by peers. So if you're in the peer group, so sitcom writers, as far as I know, sitcom writers would all have to watch whatever that committee is. They would, I believe now it's an affidavit, like they have to watch the episodes and they vote. So it's a very serious thing to get, once you're in on the nomination, the people that win, for the most part, especially now, you can be rest assured that the judges watched every single show, and the judges took their job seriously. I mean, they're still human beings, so maybe there was some drinking, but not here. Yes, this just for those of you that are accusing me of drinking bourbon, this is, or something else, this is definitely honey. And I'm sorry that you guys have to witness that, but it keeps me from coughing. That is that is not an easy shot to take. Okay, so everybody's following along so far that the Emmys are taken seriously. Once they're not there, everybody takes it seriously. But the chance of once it gets to the nominations, the peers are watching and taking seriously and taking a vote. So you can be rest assured, once a show is nominated, that the judges have really, in the best, most accurate way possible. And again, they're human beings. So if they're like, I don't like the sound of Ray Romano's voice, I will never vote for this guy. That you can't help. But they try and be as fair as possible. Now, going back to the nominations, you'll see there's huge campaigns when you're here in Los Angeles. You see billboards. Please vote for this. Please, you'll see all before the nomination period. You'll see all kinds of voting things. And for your consideration thing, there are DVDs back then distributed. And here is one of them. This is for the last season. This is a DVD. That's my photo. They used all of my photos for the Emmy campaign that year. And then on the back is Ray and Phil talking. And then you can see, you can't read it here because it's too small. And my hands are not surgically stable. There. Oh, I think these are from eBay. Yes, you can find them. There's the season 6 submission and the final season. So there's 4 episodes on there for writing, for example. So those are what I think those are for the nominations, to go out for the nominations that get sent everywhere. So for those of you, if you're in the Academy, all of a sudden your mailbox would fill up with DVDs of the best episodes of every show that's on the air. Nowadays, it's a digital thing. I think you get a code and you can watch it, etc. So that's kind of how it has changed, but still the show sends out their best episodes. Now, there can also be some shows forget to nominate. You can forget to submit, rather. There's a little bit of paperwork involved in order to be nominated. All right, this is the boring technical stuff. Now, getting back to the actual Emmy Awards. Once you're nominated, you go to the Emmys. Now, I was friends with some people, so I ended up going to the Emmys, I think season 2, 3, 4. I think I went every season, and then I worked on the Creative Arts Emmys, which is the Creative Arts Emmys usually happens a week before the Primetime Emmys, and the Creative Arts Emmys is just for categories that can't fit onto the primetime broadcast. Now, I find every award show to be fairly boring. No matter how hard you try in this, you're talking as someone who has written jokes and tried to make something as entertaining as possible, but you're not really, it's an interest. Any award ceremony is a little bit weird. The Grammys, the Tonys, it's a little bit and then odd in that also there's a certain amount of pomposity and self-congratulatory thing of going, having an award show for yourself. Having said that, the Emmy Awards are exciting when you're nominated. However, and this was pointed out to me by Phil's friend, the room, when you're at the Emmys, the room fills up with losers, because if it's, I don't know how many nominees there are now, but let's say there's 5 in the outstanding comedy category and 5 in every single category. That means 4 out of 5 people in that room are losers. And when you go to the Emmys, the first time, if you're nominated, you can't believe it. You're so excited and you're sitting there and you're like, we are going to win for outstanding comedy. Is they're very specific about their phrasing at the Emmys. Outstanding performance in a outstanding comedy series. And then you're sitting there, you're in your tuxedo. It's been a whole day affair in that you get picked up. They discourage you driving. You get picked up, you go there. It's pomp and circumstance. And especially when it's for outstanding drama or outstanding comedy, it doesn't happen until the end of the night. So you sit through the whole thing hoping that you'll win. And then if you lose, you're like, oh, it's a very deflating experience. You'd almost rather not have experienced the feeling of loss. So it would be great if you knew if you were going to win before you went, but that is not the case, except for on another show that maybe is chosen by people. You can figure that out, where the winners kind of know that they are going to win in advance. Now, here's an interesting little sideline. When I was working on the Creative Arts Emmys, I went a couple of times to the editing room and watched what they were going to broadcast. Now, the Creative Arts Emmys, again, for those of you just joining, Tom Hanks would be there. All these giant stars would be there. It's not, it's just, there's so many Emmy Awards that if they crammed it into one broadcast, it would be a 6-hour Jerry Lewis type telethon. Those of you who are older will know what that means. Those that are younger, oh well. So they couldn't have, and I think on the Emmy Awards, we would give out 90 awards on the creative arts, 90 awards the few times I was there around that. So when I watched this editing process and the final broadcast to cut it down, they cut out all of and the nominees and they just cut to the winners. And what I realized is part of the fun of watching the Emmys is the anticipatory thing where they go, this nominee, this nominee, this nominee, and then you see that Brady Bunch type split screen where everybody's on edge, and then they hear that they've won or lost, and the losers have to seem very, what do I want to say, humble and gracious in their loss. That's the word I'm looking for, gracious. And they cut that out in this Creative Arts Emmys broadcast, and I thought, wow, it's really not interesting just to watch winner, 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 winner. I know they're trying to get the information out quickly, but there is a little bit of fun. And if you go back now and look on YouTube and go, who were the nominees for Best Academy Award Actress in 1972, you will be pulled in by them saying, and the nominees you're like, oh, I can't wait to see how this goes, this 40-year-old clip goes. Okay, so when you're there at the Emmys, you are having fun with all of the other people that are there who you work with, etc. But there's a little bit of mixed feelings of, oh, I don't want to have the pain of losing. And when you lose every year, it is painful. Now, I'm saying that knowing 100% how grateful you are to be working on a show that even gets nominated at all. All right, so Everybody Loves Raymond specific. Patricia Heaton gets nominated and she wins. And we're so excited, so proud. It's like, oh, the show got recognized. And I posted some pictures. Rhonda, who I was texting this morning, who was the head of the props department, she was like, yeah, I think I made that in the morning with whatever I had, not knowing if Patty would bring in her Emmy. Because there is a weird thing. Everybody else in the cast did not win an Emmy. And I don't even know who was nominated then. So is Patty going to sit there and go, oh, this is going to be gloating or bragging or something else? And so Rhonda did that. Patty came out in front of the live audience with that award. And then I guess either she told or somebody said, hey, I do have my Emmy here. And then somebody ran and Don Rosemond runs the Emmy out to her in front of the audience. And if you watch the bloopers, you'll see there's a point where, and I don't remember the episode, if it's the walk to the door or something, but they're in the car. And Patty forgets her line. And they're just sitting there. It's green screen. And Ray goes, that's your line, Emmy winner. And it gets a huge laugh. Okay, so a little bit of digging at Patty for her victory there. So now, after season 4, all of a sudden, and I've talked about this online, a couple of people commenting, Seinfeld not recognized till season 4. Evers Raymond not recognized season 4. Seinfeld goes off the air as the #1 show. But that means for Raymond and Seinfeld, all of their Emmys have to come in their later seasons. So when you see certain shows like Cheers, which was an unbelievably funny show, I think Cheers has so many Emmy wins. And I don't know when they started winning, but if you're Evers Raymond, that means almost all of your wins have to come in season 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you have to write off all those potentials of the other first 4 seasons. So once that happened, now it became, oh, who is going to get nominated this year? Not will we get nominated. And then all of a sudden, the actors especially got recognized and were nominated a lot. And I think, I believe Brad Garrett won 3 Emmys. Patty Heaton won 2 Emmys. Ray Romano won 1 Emmy. And Doris Roberts, I believe, won 4 Emmys. And it was well-deserved. And I think more Emmys could have been given. I wish that Peter Boyle could have won an Emmy along with Brad Garrett. But it's, the truth is, Frank's character probably had the funniest lines, most consistently funny lines of the show. But a lot of times Frank's character didn't have that many lines. And so it's hard if you have a, Brad Garrett Robert episode called She's the One, where a woman, his date, eats a fly, and Frank is getting really, really funny zingers. It's hard for him to win with that much. It's just the mechanics of it. So, uh, um, I think once that happened, once the ball started rolling, and even one time we were nominated and Friends won, and the Friends writers, producers sent over a big basket and basically said, "You guys should have won this year," which was a very nice gesture. I think Phil would rather have won the Emmy, but the basket of food was delicious and completely a very nice gesture from the Friends writers. All right, let me ask a few. Let me answer a few questions. Let's see. Um, let me see. Yes, Mona, they've taken ELR. How does it feel to have written on an on? I don't even know what that means. Roommates, were you Oscar and Felix? Bob Silva, very funny question. Yeah. Uh, Oscar, for those of you that don't know what Bob is talking about, um, The Odd Couple was a great Neil Simon. I believe it was a play, then a movie, then a series. Yeah. Can I tell you, the first season of Everest Raymond, we were so busy that there was no real downtime per se. It was eat, drink, breathe, the series. And Ray and I actually shared a car. I didn't even have a car. Like, it was just get up, go to work, and work on the scripts and go back and then do it all again. So there wasn't even enough time to annoy each other, which is a very interesting thing. All right. Let me see. In the Sports Center episode of the year, based on the Emmy Awards, the sports writer. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know who wrote the Sports Writer of the Year. Is that the one with Kevin James in it? Or, sorry, are you talking about the Recovering Pessimist, where with Katarina Witt and Marv Albert? Yeah, that, I believe that was a Steve Scrovan script. And I think that was just about Ray's optimism. The Sports Writer with Kevin James, if you're talking about that one, I'm trying to remember who wrote that. That's a really good one, because usually it pops in my head who wrote those episodes, which is the good thing about knowing all of those. Carol Nicholson. Yes, Carol. How do you like that? I said a full name. So you left your families in New York City while you taped the show. So Raymond. So the short answer is yes. Peter Boyle left his family in New York City, but Peter was, used to working in Hollywood. Raymond had 3 kids at the time, twins, and a blonde daughter named Allie in real life. And most shows get canceled. So he decided to not move his family in case the show got canceled in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. He would just move back. I was single at the time, so that was an easier decision for me. Ray's wife would fly out every once in a while to see the show and visit and keep an eye on Raymond. Okay, yes, great. Oh, I love these. Yes, these credits. Okay, here we go. Scrolling back through this. So I'm sorry. Oh, maybe one more hit of the honey. Yes. Mm-hmm. The problem is you're showing the underside of your chin for so long when you drink honey. I only recognize a few names of the show's characters from the Emmys this year. SNL is the only show I've seen of all those nominated. Annabelle, what you're saying, Annabelle, is that you are like a normal person who doesn't keep up always with the latest things, with the latest nominees. And I am not a good one to talk to about that, because I, as you guys know, do not watch a ton of television. So the Emmys, let's go back to the Emmys. In 2003, we were nominated for the Outstanding Comedy and Series, and won. The show won. And I don't even know this. I have to read it. Here we go. Here's an Emmy, and I'm going to have to read it. I have to read what it says. Okay, so this is. So let's talk about the process that happens. But here you go. Sorry, I got to really move it back to get it all on camera. There you go. The Academy is very serious also about which way the Emmy is facing also. So there you go. That is one of Miami. So let's talk about what happens when you win. You're in the audience. They say, okay, the nominees are, they read the nominees, you sit there and wait, and for the most part, you lose. But on that year, 2003, we won. And you run on stage and you're very happy. It happens really quickly. So what happens when you get on stage is there's a giant teleprompter. And almost as instantly, like if Phil is going to speak, and if he says, hey, I want to thank everybody, as soon as he says, I want to thank everybody, there's a big blinking thing that says, wrap it up. It says, wrap it up, because they just want the show to keep going. And, it is your moment, whoever is the winner, whoever decides to speak. I think Phil spoke both times. You want to thank really want to thank people and savor the moment a little bit, and you do not have time because the network would like to, appropriately so, keep people from being bored. And so when you thank your agent and you're this and you're this, most of the acceptance speeches are very boring. Within reason, because you're just it's not a performance, it's a thank you thing. You usually get one or two jokes. I think Larry David went up and said, this is all very good, but I'm still bald. Something like that, and just walked off, didn't thank anybody. If you guys can look it up. So you run on stage, you look out there, it's kind of the end of the show for outstanding comedy or outstanding drama. It's the very end of the show. And then you come off and what happens is you're handed an Emmy. So Phil is handed an Emmy. I don't know if everybody, I can't remember. Phil and Ray, there's Emmys handed out. And then as you're walking off the stage with your Emmy and going, oh, wow, I have an Emmy, they go, give me that Emmy. And so they take back your Emmy. And what happens is there's a table and you go back and you sign your name and then you take your Emmy. So let me see I don't know if it's still here. I think I showed it once. There's a band that's on your Emmy. So the Emmy, now let's get into the nuts and bolts. There's a little screw here. And you unscrew this, and this band, when you get it, this band doesn't have your name on it, because how could they know? I think it's kind of just a generic, here we go. Okay, what does this one say? Okay, so this is the generic band. So do you see that, everybody? That is a generic band that goes around the Emmys. And it says the winner, okay, so they know the winner is Outstanding Comedy Series. Everybody Loves Somebody there. Yes, CBS. Okay, so that's what's on the Emmy when you sign for it. And then, I don't know when, 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, you are sent a new band. And the band has your name on it. And so you disassemble, sounds so low rent. You disassemble, there's a screw under that, what would you call that? Felt. Under that felt, you unscrew it and you physically take the band out, take this band off, and you either throw it away or keep it on your desk for 20 years. And then you put the one that has your name on it. Let me see. I'm hitting a lot of equipment here. Let's see. Do we see mine? Oh, yeah, there it is. Yes, it's backwards for me. So, okay. So there you go. Those are the mechanics. And I think if you lose your Emmy, if you lose it, I think you can buy another one, but you can't just keep buying, so here, let me go back. The Emmy award is obviously great to win. I have two. My other one isn't here. This one has not been with me for about 20 years. For a very long time, it was sitting on the coffee table of my accountant. And my other Emmy is at a bakery in Schenectady with my friend Bobby Malozzi at Villa Italia. If you go to that bakery, you will see a glass case. So maybe I can pick up a photo of it. I'll see if I can find a photo of it. So I find that it gives a lot of people joy to be able to take a picture with the Emmy. And I have not had it in my house for about 20 years. Because a lot more people see it in my friend's bakery. Oh, that's a really good, let me see if I can find that picture. Hold on. Don't Don't panic, everybody. Oh, wow. These are great pictures. So here we go. This is not it. This is me. This is me. And you're seeing some equipment there. Here, let me see. That's the sky. Yes. Me, Ray's wife, Amy, who works in production, who you saw, who's the voice on the tape that broke up with Raymond, Karen, 1982, and Phil's assistant, Aaron Champion. Let me see there. Oh, so there. This is my friend Maurice. This is him winning Emmy. Sorry for all the reflection, everybody, but that's the table. That's the table. There's a whole bunch of. And here we go. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have somewhere a wide shot. Yeah, you can't. So it's okay. Yeah, it's kind of in a glass case. There inside that glass case, there's a wide shot of the whole bakery that I have. So here, this, by the way, talk about misinformation. Here is a newspaper article that says that Raymond gave his Emmy to a bakery in Schenectady. Not true. I gave my Emmy, or at least it's being held there temporarily until the end of time. There we go. There we all are after the win. I'm back there. So here, let's see a little bit of trivia. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of texts coming in. Let's see. Exciting texts. Yes, milk. We need milk. And let's see this. Yes. Yes. Interesting. Okay. So that's a really good trivia point that I totally forgot. There's so many people that have not won an Emmy. Jackie Gleason never won an Emmy. So there you go. Anybody better than Jackie Gleason as a comedian? No, never won an Emmy. Steve Carell never won an Emmy, or at least not for that. I guess, or yes, maybe never. Kristen Wiig, yes. Jason Alexander, come on. Jason Alexander, is that not Jason Alexander? So that's the example of Michael Richards and Jason Alexander, Peter Boyle and Brad Garrett. Yes. All right, let's see. Now these are great. So getting back to the Emmys and the win, you win the Emmy, you get an Emmy, you walk around for the rest of the night, you have an Emmy. There's a big thing called a governor's ball afterwards. It's a really good feeling when you've won. And eventually you get used to losing the Emmy, but winning is better. You can take your Emmy and go into any after party. Now, I remember one year, and I don't know if I have it here, we were owned by HBO. So The Sopranos were there. And also, it was one of the years, and the Band of Brothers came out, and I had not watched it until about 10 years later. But there were all kinds of people at that party, and Sex and the City. There's a broad spectrum. Sex and the City and Band of Brothers. So you can go to really any party around town if you're holding your Emmy. So I think I could go into an Emmy party right now if I grab my Emmy. Okay, this is, I don't know who took this photo, but it is Peter. Wow, the reflection today is really bad. Peter Boyle and David Preval. Okay, it's The Sopranos. And that is, I think it's 99. Look how happy Peter looks. So love that photo of Peter. You can find it if you look it up online. I will be posting a lot of these photos. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, everybody. We're getting better by, yes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'll post some of these. There's me and Patty at, I want to say 2000 or something like that. I don't think she won that year. So this was the most interesting thing. Let me tell you this quick story. I've shared a little bit, but here we go. Here's backstage. Phil Rosenthal, Brad Garrett, and Raymond backstage. Here's a photo session backstage before Phil was famous, and then Phil posed with the cast, and they said, okay, please step out now. Here we go. There's smiles all around. That's the press conference after you win. You go back. Here are all the writers the last season. Jeremy Stevens missing. Sorry, the reflection is terrible. Don't worry, people. I will be posting these photos. There's okay. That's like the day after or something on stage. Oh, I know why. I think these are all dark because there's that's me, Phil, Raymond at the Emmys. These are going very fast. Ray's parents at the Emmys. This is a rare shot. Sorry, don't worry. I'll post these. Ray's mother and father on the Emmys. There's Jeremy Stevens. Okay, these are a lot of movies which I'll share. Jeremy Stevens, Jim Peterson from Worldwide Pants. All these kind of things. Phil, yes, Phil. Just someone asked, is that Phil's mother? Yes, Phil's doing a goofy thing with the Emmy, but there is his mother laughing at Phil doing that goofy thing. All right. Let me catch up on questions. I'm going to tell you on the last, when you guys look at the photos that I post during the last season, we won the Emmy and we were backstage and I gave Peter Boyle my Emmy to hold because for outstanding comedy, producers win the Emmy, the actors don't win the Emmy, but Peter was standing there. I think Doris had won, Brad had won. So I gave Peter my Emmy to hold for the photo. So if you look at those photos, the last season, just as a nice gesture, I handed Peter my Emmy. And so you're going to see a lot of photos from that 2005 win where Peter is holding an Emmy. And it was, I wish I could have given him I did technically, but I wish the Academy could have. How many did Brad Garrett really need? Not that many. Hello. Yes. Oh, these are great. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm scanning through these photos if I haven't answered them already. Yes. Deborah's sister. A good question. Deborah's sister was only in one episode. And I don't know. I think that might have been a Kathy Stump episode. And generally, if there's no other storylines that the writers come up with, for example, once you had Stefania, Alex Meneses, once you had Amy Aquino as the cookie lady, and you're like, oh, these are home runs, and there's others. These actresses are hitting home runs and are super funny, and so let's try and use them as much as possible. And we didn't use that much outside cast, period. So even if you are Alex Meneses and you are super funny, and Amy Aquino, who was perfect for the role, you can only do so many outside characters in script. So my gut feeling is, from being in the writer's room for all 9 years, that nobody was coming up with the nun sister other story ideas that could go someplace. So that's why it wasn't some calculated decision. It was just that. And more often than not, the simplest answer is usually the answer, which is nobody thought of a really funny story idea with Deborah's sister. That's really the answer. Yes. Hello, Colorado. There you go. I would call that a non sequitur. So I'm just curious, who does watch the Emmys? Does anybody watch the Emmys out there watching? I mean, some people do, and the ratings have been declining, as they have in all of network television. So the Emmys are on ABC this year, I think, which, for those of you that are following along from other countries, we still have 3 main broadcast networks, even though we have hundreds of channels. And I think they alternate who carries the Emmys between CBS, ABC, and NBC. All right. So final Emmy questions and thoughts. What it does do, like, what does the Emmy do? Someone wrote, what does it do for you? It does help to say you have, it's instant credibility. That's what it is. Instant credibility. So at least you're in the game of some sort of level to win that. Now, having said that, there are people with 20 Emmys or 15 Emmys, and it starts to, I don't know. I don't want to say lose its meaning, because, people deserve their Emmys, but there's certain categories where you go, this person has 13 Emmys, and you're like, wow, that is very impressive. So as far as, there's a lot of Emmy winners out in Hollywood. So it's kind of it is, I think an Oscar does more because it helps with a movie. I think it helps to some degree, but I'm not sure how much. To say you have an Oscar winning actor here, or, you get a paycheck, an increase in your paycheck. But it's certainly, if you're winning on a first time, an obscure thing, and you win, it really, really helps. And also it helped the ratings for Everett Raymond to win. And sometimes it doesn't. Arrested Development, I remember the showrunner of Arrested Development, they won an Emmy for Best Comedy, Mitch Hurwitz, and he said, hey, how about watching? Because the ratings were terrible, just like on 30 Rock. If you look at 30 Rock has one of the funniest shows ever made and very, very low ratings. So, that was a long drink, and I did it while I read. Angela, yeah, I used to watch the Emmys in the 90s and the aughts, let's say 2000. Not anymore. There are no sitcoms nowadays. Yeah. What are the sitcoms that are there any sitcoms that run 25 to 30 episodes that you still watch? Okay. So I'm going to tell one final story and then say goodbye. I will post some pictures. In 2005, Everett Raymond ended. Our last show aired May 16th, 2005, but the show was nominated for an Emmy, so we all went to the Emmys. And it was predicted that the hottest show on the air, Desperate Housewives, was going to win. And so we sat through the whole ceremony knowing that we were going to lose, and we sat there in the audience, and I took a picture of Steve Scrovan in the audience and Tucker Cawley in the audience right before they announced the category, the winner for Outstanding Comedy. And when I say we weren't expecting to win, we had already heard that, I believe we heard this. So Desperate Housewives was so popular that I think they might have moved the Oscars to a different night. Is that possible? So it wouldn't compete with that TV show. I think that's how popular it was. We were told that, I'm editing in my head, we were told that the person at Desperate Housewives had already told the Academy that they have a longer than normal speech, so please don't cut them off because they have a joke coming at like 2 minutes and 10 seconds, so please don't cut them off. So we knew, like, we are not going to win. And here's what was not super hot and exciting ever was Everybody Loves Raymond. Never, ever, ever did we have heat around us or traction or whatever terms you want to say, like Friends, where it was the hottest thing ever. And, it was like watching the Beatles when you went to their stage. It was amazing. Everett Raymond never had that and probably never will because it is just a show about a family. So we're all sitting there, and they call the winner, and it is Everybody Loves Raymond. And so it was about as excited a group of people as you could possibly have, who were not expecting to win, because that was a much better thing than really expecting to win. And I feel bad for the Desperate Housewives people, not that bad, but because they must have been shocked, because if they heard it, I'm going to look for my photos. If they heard that they were going to win, we heard that they were going to win, everybody must have thought they have to win. You can't have this much heat around you and not win. So we won. And I remember this was the one time when I went on stage, and I had my camera with me, and I took a picture. And I always took pictures, as you know, who have been following along. And so I have a great picture of Tucker, Ray, and Lou pointing at me. And I think it was Lou going, there's Tom taking another picture, or Tucker. Yeah, one of those two guys. I'll find that photo. I'll post that photo. And so that evening was just a great cap to the show, because many of us had gone on to different jobs, and we had not seen each other. A lot of us had not seen each other. So that was a great night to see each other. Here's the photo I was looking for of the my other Emmy in Schenectady at a bakery, my friend's Villa Italia Bakery, Schenectady. If you want a cannoli, go there. Inside that glass case, a beautiful, beautiful bakery that looks just like this. Oh, now I'm hungry for sweets. There's his bakery, and the Emmy is just around the corner. So there you go. So that win was a fantastic. Here we go. A few more moments of table covered with Emmys. This was a very good feeling to have. I'll post these pictures again. Phil pointing out the front page of the New York Times Emmy win. So a really, really great moment. But that last one was the capper. And the night before the Emmys, we were doing a live show called Inside the Writers' Room in San Francisco. And we said to the audience, hey, we are getting laughs here. Tomorrow night, you will either see us on stage holding statues, or you will maybe say, hey, we saw the guys, all those losers last night were right here, and now they have lost, but we won. So it was a very, very, very good feeling. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep your comments. I love it. I answer every comment that I can. If I don't answer it online, if it's brought to my attention that I've missed it, I try and answer it live. If I know that it's a long answer, I try and do it here as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Again, Emmy time. Watch tonight. I don't know who the nominees are. Watch or don't watch, whatever you prefer. But that is a lot of Everybody Loves Raymond trivia for all of you to digest. More pictures to be posted. All right. See you guys next week. Have a good week.